We're starting with Vince McMahon, as it was reported over the past week that his health has been rapidly deteriorating, which may explain why we haven't seen him in public. The rumors about McMahon's health were initially reported by Lee Cole, who in a YouTube video on Monday claimed that Linda McMahon had shared news about Vince's failing health. Cole claimed that Linda had gotten the information from a person who worked for the McMahons for 7 years, but didn't disclose their identity in the video. Lee Cole is the brother of the late Tom Cole, a former WWF ring boy who was one of multiple people to make allegations of sexual misconduct against the promotion decades ago. Now, Vince's attorney Jessica Rosenberg has issued a statement on rumors of his health, and she has said that they are not true in the slightest. Vince's health is fine. We have no idea where the rumor that he had health issues came from, but it is not true. McMahon will turn 79 this month and underwent spinal surgery in July 2023 and was seen using a cane in Saudi Arabia at an appearance for the Francis Ngannou vs. Tyson Fury fight in October. As speculation continues to swirl, McMahon's legal team has made it clear that there is no truth to the rumors about his health, and McMahon has bigger issues to deal with than his health. After all, Janelle Grant's lawsuit continues to loom over McMahon and his legal team, as does the federal investigation into the former WWE chairman. What are your thoughts on the recent statements from Vince McMahon's attorney debunking the rumors about his health? Let us know in the comments section down below. At SummerSlam, the Judgement Day underwent its biggest change in over 2 years, as Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley were ousted from the faction with a pair of betrayals. Earlier this week, it was reported that WWE were planning to tweak the faction and that a name change was likely, with Street Trash being considered the favorite as the new name. On social media, fans mocked the bafflingly bad name, with many pointing out that it was Gunther's name for Priest, who is now no longer part of the group. In a follow-up report, WrestleVotes confirmed that WWE listened to the outcry and decided not to rename the faction entirely, and that the Judgment Day name will remain. That being said, the Street Trash concept will be incorporated into the group's gimmick as a slogan, and that pitched name reportedly came directly from Finn Balor. WWE has already approved merchandising related to the slogan, which may explain why they're not ditching the term entirely, as doing so would make all this merchandise obsolete. This move allows WWE to keep the core identity of the Judgment Day while adding a fresh element to the group's presentation, and fans are relieved that a complete name change won't happen. Many believe the Street Trash name would have negatively impacted the group, and we'll have to see what changes we do see, though we know that the Judgment Day's name will not change. What do you make to WWE backing down on this change? Are you pleased that the group won't be known as Street Trash? Sound off in the comments section. Now, Stone Cold Steve Austin didn't appear at WrestleMania 40, but earlier this month, he dropped a tease that he will be in Las Vegas for WrestleMania 41 in April of next year. On Instagram this week, Austin shared a video of himself with his off-road racer, and despite the vehicle, the attention of the fans was how jacked the Texas Rattlesnake looked. This photo has made fans more convinced that a match could come next April, and such a match would obviously be a huge draw for the two-night show. But who should Austin face if a match does happen? Perhaps a certain retiring 16-time world champion? Or will it be a dream match with the best in the world? Give us your ideas below. We've got All In news now, but not for this month's event, as this week, AEW confirmed that All In 2025 will take place at Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas on July 12th. This marks the first ever wrestling event at Globe Life Field, the home of the Texas Rangers, and the first time AEW All In will be held outside of Wembley Stadium. This show is just the latest major AEW event to come to the city and represents a significant partnership between AEW, Rev Entertainment, the Arlington Sports Commission, and the city. This will also be AEW's first stadium event in the US, so expectations are already high, but why has this show been announced so early? Fightful Select reports that the decision to move All In to Texas has been in the works for months, and the early announcement was a strategic move to avoid disappointment for the UK fans. We can only imagine what kind of response the crowd in Wembley would have given if at the end of this month's event, they learned that next year's All In wouldn't be coming to London. While fans in the UK and Europe may be disappointed, Tony Khan has said that All In will return to the UK in 2026, as those planning on going to Wembley will have longer to prepare. By revealing the venue early, AEW aimed to keep fans informed and excited about the future of the event, and AEW's ongoing relationship with Dallas also played a role in next year's show. Arlington has already hosted Collision and ROH, and Kosha Irby was instrumental in finalizing the deal and has been praised in AEW and the Dallas community for his work. Interestingly, the announcement was kept confidential from the talent, with many unaware of the plans for Dallas until the news was made public. Tony Khan had previously expressed interest in using Globe Life Field due to his ties with the Texas Rangers, although he had mentioned no immediate plans for a U.S. stadium show. Now we know exactly when AEW's first U.S. stadium show will take place, and we'll have to see what kind of show Tony Khan puts on in July of next year. This week, AEW revealed the official poster for its September 7th All Out pay-per-view, and while it featured a ton of top AEW names, it also seemingly spoiled a huge match from All In London. As several fans have pointed out, the poster features Bryan Danielson, which many have taken as confirmation that his in-ring career won't end in Wembley Stadium this month. Danielson will put his career on the line against Swerve Strickland's AEW World Championship, and if this poster is to be believed, we'll see a new champion crowned soon. Prior to his program with Strickland, Danielson has seen quite a few losses during his time in AEW. While speaking on Wrestling Observer Radio, Bryan Alvarez addressed the losses. It was stated that Danielson lost many matches as he wants to put others over and do what he believes is best for the business, and a reason he joined AEW was to strengthen the company. Danielson doesn't need to win the AEW title to do that, but his character does need to win the gold, and expect an intense showdown this month in Wembley Stadium. Since late 2023, Kenny Omega has been out of action due to a battle with diverticulitis, and despite a brief return to TV earlier this year, there's still been no sign of a return. Michael Nakazawa recently spoke with Lovespo to provide an update on Kenny Omega's health status, and he explained that Omega has diverticulitis of the large intestine. This is a serious condition that could be fatal if not properly treated, but fortunately, Omega found a doctor who could treat his condition. The treatment involved removing about 25 centimeters of the affected colon, and while Omega is recovering, he can't exert much strength in his abdomen, certainly not enough to wrestle. Nakazawa noted that despite the major surgery, Omega was impressively walking on his own, while he has helped with tasks like cleaning his cat's litter box since Omega can't bend down. Omega has been gradually resuming physical training, incorporating rehabilitative exercises such as walking and pool workouts, but he's not ready to lift the same weights as before. Nakazawa stated that Omega's condition involves significant physical impact, and it's uncertain how this will affect his internal organ, so he could not provide a timeline for Omega's return. Ultimately, Omega's health comes before anything else, and fans excited to see him back will just have to keep on waiting for the former world champion. In wrestling right now, few women are dominating like Liv Morgan and Athena, with Morgan as WWE's Women's World Champion and Athena as the ROH Women's World Champion. Athena recently hit 600 days with the title as she's dominated the division, but the pair did not receive the same opportunities not too long ago in WWE. In a clip that has been going viral online, Morgan and Athena, then Ember Moon, can be seen getting ready to go out and wrestle at a WWE event in September 2019. Just 30 seconds before the entrances were going to start though, Michael P.S. Hayes shared that the match was cancelled, a decision that could have only come from Vince McMahon. In her Live Forever documentary, an emotional Morgan called the decision bizarre and said they were both ready to perform, and at the time, Moon was also shocked by the news. Thankfully, both women are in better positions today, but this match cancellation remains a sticking point for many fans all these years later. In WWE, Matt Riddle had a tendency to rub wrestlers the wrong way, with Brock Lesnar, Bill Goldberg, and Seth Rollins all having legitimate beef with him at one time or another. Many believe Riddle's heat magnetic personality explains why he didn't go further in the company, and fans can add another WWE megastar to those who had beef with the bro. On his Wrestling Matt podcast, Matt Camp shared how Roman Reigns made an appearance on The Bump back in August 2021 due to a partnership with the sunglasses company Shady Rays. When Roman was around, WWE made sure that Riddle, who was also a guest on the show, was not on set until after Reigns was finished, and work was put in to keep the pair very separate. The tension between the two likely originated from Riddle's comments that he could legitimately beat Reigns in a real fight, comments that didn't sit well with the original tribal chief. Despite their real-life animosity, the two were able to put their differences aside and work together in 2022, and Reigns even defended his Universal title against Riddle that year. During his show, Camp also spoke about the demise of the Bump, which he believes struggled after Kayla Braxton left and Megan Morant was brought in. Camp said that Morant didn't show interest in improving, but acknowledged that he and she did not have chemistry and claimed he tried to help her improve. Camp allegedly invited Morant to observe and participate in various events, but she did not take advantage of these opportunities, and despite efforts to integrate her, things didn't improve. Camp noted that the trying efforts eventually ceased, leading to the show's decline, though it's always worth remembering that we're only getting his side of the story here. Ultimately, the Bump has been cast to the annals of WWE history, and for Roman Reigns and Matt Riddle, it was probably for the best that they were kept separate. What's your view on this story concerning Matt Riddle and Roman Reigns? Do you believe Riddle got himself into trouble far too often in WWE? Sound off in the comments section below. Since arriving on Monday Night Raw, the Wyatt Six has been a force to be reckoned with, and their in-ring debut saw them defeat American Made earlier this month. Not everyone has been a fan of the group though, and on his drive-thru podcast, Jim Cornette criticized the match and believes that only Chad Gable looked like a bona fide WWE star. As for the other 5 men, they looked more like talent you'd see working your local indie, though he did give props to Dexter Lumis for being memorable. He said, "Am I safe in assuming that if this exact same match happened without the 3 guys being in the Wyatt gimmick and it's just mass hypnosis, this would have been an indie-level match? It looked like Chad Gable was the WWE star doing a third-party booking in a rec center with a bunch of guys in the main event just because they sold the most tickets to their family and friends. I don't know, do you think it was that bad? I mean, it wasn't the greatest, but Lumis looks like somebody now. He has long hair, he's kicking that in, and he's more memorable." Cornette then turned his attention to Joe Gacy, who he called pudgy, and said that the Creeds are green, implying they have a lot to learn in the ring. He added, "Remember we said he was Captain Sonambulist before? Well, Lumis looks like somebody, Rowan's big, and Gacy is a pudgy indie guy who kinda wandered into this. If you squinted, it was like spooky hillbillies, Uncle Elmer, Hillbilly Jim, and Cousin Junior. He looked more like Uncle Fester to me. The Creeds are great athletes, but they're greener than a pepper tree, as Frank Spaceman Hickey would say. They're not smooth yet." What do you think of what Jim Cornette had to say about the in-ring debut of the Wyatt Six? Let us know in the comments section below. On last week's episode of WWE Raw, CM Punk took the time out of his promo to shout out the new UFC welterweight champion, Belal Muhammad. In an interview with Sports Illustrated, Muhammad spoke about Punk's shout out on Raw, his SummerSlam plans, and his relationship with the WWE star. "That's my brother," Muhammad said about CM Punk. "We used to train together in Rufosport, Milwaukee. He's a good friend, he's from Chicago, and anytime we're together we hit the stairs together or something and get a good workout in. He's truly a genuine good person. Seeing him give me that shout out on Raw, that was epic. He always wanted to see me succeed. I used to love Raw and I loved watching Punk. Then I got to know him and he's such a down-to-earth good dude. He's a friend and a brother. I want to be a tag team with Punk. I was supposed to go to SummerSlam, but I went to Abu Dhabi for the UFC fight. I knew Punk was making his comeback and I wanted to see it, and then I saw Jelly Roll in the ring and I was thinking, hey, that could have been me." CM Punk had a brief stint in the UFC and trained primarily under Duke Rufus at his Milwaukee gym. This is the same gym where Muhammad trained as he advanced through the UFC welterweight division. Regardless, Muhammad appreciates CM Punk, and that's all that matters to him. While speaking on Cody Rhodes' What Do You Want to Talk About, Randy Orton was asked who he wants to induct him into the WWE Hall of Fame. The Apex Predator mentioned John Cena. Orton admitted that he hesitates to say it out loud because he doesn't want Cena to feel obligated. While Randy Orton acknowledged there are other potential candidates, John Cena is at the top of his list, though he feels reluctant to make the request given Cena's busy schedule. Orton expressed his desire to battle John Cena at one of the dates of his retirement tour. Randy stated that he would like to build a compelling storyline with adequate TV time, considering their history and nostalgic factor involved. Orton also mentioned that his program with Cena would have to happen organically and believed that it will happen in 2025. Orton revealed that he spoke to Cena before his Money in the Bank retirement announcement. The Viper had no idea about Cena's intentions and approached him backstage about renewing their on-screen rivalry. "I said, 'What do you think?' Orton recalled. And he was like, "Randy, you know I've never pitched anything. I always do my best with whatever they give me." I'm like, "Man, that's me. I've never had a pitch. I've never set myself up to be let down. I'm never like, hey writers, here's a 6-page storyboard of everything I want to do for the next 6 months. Not once. Not once." Orton added that he felt as though Cena shut down the idea, but he still hopes the match will happen. Finally, Randy Orton opened up about his time away from WWE for 18 months due to injury, sharing that he experienced feelings of depression during that period. While he had his family, including his kids who brought smiles to his face, and his dogs, he still felt like something was missing. Nevertheless, Orton is now focused on his world title match against Gunther at Bash in Berlin, so we'll have to see how he'll fare in the bout. Do you think WWE would book John Cena versus Randy Orton during his upcoming retirement tour in 2025? Sound off in the comments. Despite being very popular with fans, Danhausen hasn't been featured on AEW programming in a long time, and the very nice, very evil wrestler looked unrecognizable this week. On social media, Danhausen shared a photo from Japan without his signature makeup, and we imagine even the loyalists of AEW fans may not have noticed the talented wrestler. One name who fans recently didn't get to see is Britt Baker, who is back from a suspension due to a backstage issue with MJF and Alicia Tout, but there could be more trouble in the future. On Fightful's Q&A podcast, Sean Ross Sapp spoke about Baker and shared that she may never face Jamie Hayter, as the two are said to have personal issues with one another. Once again, backstage issues are risking to change what AEW can do on screen, just as we saw last year when CM Punk and The Elite were kept on separate shows. Hayter has been out of action for some time and it's unclear when she'll be back, and do you believe a match with Britt Baker will ever happen? Let us know below. Over to TNA, and Joe Hendry has emerged as a breakout success both in and out of the company, and now the Scottish star is making himself known outside of wrestling. David Shiley from WTSP in Tampa Bay was in the middle of a sports broadcast and was speaking about the Rays' new call-up, Junior Caminero. When Shiley mentioned saying Caminero's name and him appearing, Hendry appeared on the screen instead, and Shiley made clear this wasn't the person he was alluding to. This humorous segment has since been shared by Hendry himself, who clearly got a kick out of it, even though he appeared without his name being said. As for wrestling, Hendry is set to make NXT champion Ethan Page's life very difficult, as the TNA star has his sights set on the richest prize in WWE's gold brand. But what do you think of Hendry's surprise appearance during this broadcast? Is he the next WWE NXT champion? Give your thoughts down below. Shawn Michaels has teased a major role for CM Punk in the upcoming debut of WWE NXT on the CW on October 1st. In speaking to Iridian Fierro for WGN Radio, Shawn Michaels was asked about what role CM Punk would be playing on the upcoming NXT debut on CW from Chicago. In a recent interview with WGN Radio, Michaels discussed the WWE NXT episode at Chicago's Allstate Arena on October 1st. HBK made it clear that he won't reveal the plans for CM Punk in October, but he did suggest that there will be other surprises for NXT viewers and those attending the show in Chicago. Can't let the cat out of the bag on that right now, so he's going to be there. He's going to be playing a major role, obviously, for us, and again, as I said, certainly other surprises are sure to come. This episode marks the beginning of a new era for WWE NXT as the show transitions from the USA Network to the CW. With CM Punk and Randy Orton headlining the first two shows, WWE fans are likely to be drawn to the new channel. What do you think about WWE's move to the CW for NXT? Will it lead to a significant ratings boost? Share your thoughts in the comments section. Next month will mark 2.5 years since a broken neck injury derailed Big E's in-ring career, and fans have been left to wonder when, if ever, he'll wrestle again. In an interview with Carlo Pieruzza, Big E shared that his neck is not ossifying into new bone yet, but he retains mobility and is pain-free, which are obviously important. If cleared, he hopes to return to the ring within the next year or so, but for the time being is involved with PLE pre-show and post-show panels and will be part of Bash in Berlin this month. Despite his optimism about next year, Big E was uncertain about his wrestling future, as his neck is healing fibrously, but not yet strong enough for the physical demands of wrestling. At 38 years old, Big E recognizes there's a race against time for his return, but despite this, he's grateful for his life and opportunities outside of the ring. Big E mentioned a recent trip to Cancun for stem cell treatment at RejuveStem and spoke highly of the experience that has helped many wrestlers in the past, including Rey Mysterio. Big E even stated that he feels great after the stem cell treatment, and only time will tell if Big E will ever return to the ring, as many fans still have hope, and it's not hard to see why. Do you feel Big E will still make his in-ring return somehow? Is it safe for him? Sound off in the comments section below. It wasn't too long ago that Damon Kemp was released from NXT, which came as a shock to many as he'd been a regular on TV as part of the No Quarter Catch crew. Appearing on Monty and the Pharaoh, Kemp addressed his release and shared that he too was caught by surprise when WWE told him his contract was not going to be renewed. The dreaded call came from Talent Relations the same day that Kemp was booked to appear on NXT, which will have obviously made Kemp believe his position was pretty secure. When the phone rang, Kemp was optimistic that the call would be about renewing his deal, and what do you make of his exit? Sound off down in the comments. And we're ending today with Wild Samoan Afa, as some news outlets recently reported that he, like his brother Sika, had passed away, but those reports have been proven to be inaccurate. Afa's daughter Vale Anoa'i as well as Samu have both confirmed that the wrestling icon is alive, but said that he's still fighting amid numerous health issues. Afa underwent multiple heart surgeries and several back surgeries following a serious fall, and these challenges have taken a toll on him, leading to growing concern about his well-being. The Wild Samoans took their deserved place into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2007 after a legendary run, and we're sending our best to Afa, who remains in the land of the living.